Hello everyone, welcome to the PIPCAST 3000 that goes up usually every other Sunday 10 a.m. Pacific. We did skip a week because I've been working on something. I'm Caedo Genesis, this is my co-host, Bad Company Sarge.
Hello there.
And this is a gaming news and Bethesda adjacent topic kind of podcast where we go over some of the gaming news that has happened over the last couple of weeks. Usually the most pertinent stuff. I try not to fill it up too much anymore. And then we move on to a topic which is related to a lot of the games we like to play. And this episode's topic, because it's been a while since we've done this, because we've had plenty to talk about, normally with the stuff that we usually make content on. This time we're going back to TheGamer article so we can trash talk their choices on their list, and this list is going to be the 10 best first-person open-world games according to TheGamer.
Yep.
And we're probably going to disagree with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guess.
Yeah, we've already pre-recording kind of discussed whether or not we think it's even going to be entirely first-person games they put in their first-person games list.
Yeah. Also, we pay attention to the B-roll, because the B-roll might spoil the answers that TheGamer gives.
It also might not. We've only got limited B-roll to work with.
We also might just trick you because it's fun.
Yeah.
Because it's a mild prank. It's not cruel. If it were something we were actually worried about spoiling, that'd be different. But this is the Gamer article, so yeah. So that's what you can expect. So thank you to the Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose, who have been supporting the main channel for who knows how long, as well as this podcast by extension. And yeah, and then we move on to the comments. Comment of the cast. We didn't have any comments on the Spotify side. Those of you who listen on Spotify, get in there. What was the comment from the YouTube side, Sarge?
We had Dennis McGonigal, who says, "This is way better than that time I fell down the stairs." Which I actually replied to, saying that it's the only review we'll ever need. Because, yeah, if we ever have PIPCAST posters or whatever, that'll be the review we place on them. 10 out of 10, better than falling downstairs. It's great.
Yeah.
That's exactly the bar we're looking to meet on this podcast.
Yeah. This podcast is better than physically injuring yourself. So I think we're doing pretty well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen a fair few podcasts where I'd be like, man, I wish I was suffering physical injury instead of listening to this, so...
Man, I wish I was doing anything else like falling down the stairs while I'm listening to this podcast. Instead of just turning it off like a normal person. Yeah, thank you, Dennis, for the entertaining comment. If you want to be a comment of the cast, it doesn't even matter what the last episode's topic was. This is a great comment. If you want to be a comment of the cast, yeah, go ahead and leave a comment, and we might grab it for the next episode and talk about it, or answer it, or crack jokes. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next episode. We're on to our news, and there are three things. One of which you grabbed, something that's been circulating the last couple of days, I think, or last 3 days or so. The Stop Killing Games initiative, which has been overall has been fairly active in the last couple of years, I want to say.
Yeah.
But why don't you go ahead with the thing?
Okay, so there's been it's not... It is kind of a petition. It is a petition, but it's not like... The article even is like, yeah, this isn't a change.org petition. This is like a proper government initiative sort of thing, where they're trying to bring attention in the EU to this idea of stop killing games, which is to say that online-focused games, how they'll just be like... Oh, Anthem's a great example, actually. Anthem's going to shut down entirely in January of next year. They're just going to close the servers, and then presumably it will be unplayable. And Stop Killing Games is like, hey, maybe don't make games unplayable after people have bought them. And that's the general vibe of it. And it's not like, oh, devs have to keep supporting the games and stuff like that. It's a case of make sure that other people can host servers and do things like that, and make sure there's just some technical way to do it. If we used Fallout 76 as an example, I remember in the past when people were like, oh, why can't there just be an offline single-player version? Well, Stop Killing Games would be like, yeah, if it ever stopped getting supported, they couldn't just switch all the servers off. They would have to make an offline single-player version instead, just ported over sort of thing. And that's generally what Stop Killing Games is all about. I'm sure there's plenty of technical stuff in my news.
Primarily game preservation based.
Mm-hmm.
It's so that things don't just fade into obscurity just because the publishers were like, well, time to shut down the servers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, a good thing. As long as it, you know, works out in gamers' favor.
Yeah.
Gamers' favors. Which is what this is. This is the UK petition.
It's the EU petition, I think, this time.
Oh,
the
the
European one.
EU petition. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
right,
we've
right.
had the UK petition a while back, but I know there was one in May. It says here. Yeah, it says here in May. I even got that right. Where we had enough signatures, but the UK was like, meh, don't care. But the EU's generally quite good at video game regulation and stuff. A lot of stuff that's happened with loot boxes and microtransactions and not making them a billion times worse than they already are is because of, like, EU regulation and being like, hey, maybe we shouldn't just have gambling in this kid's game. So, there's some hope for this.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. And also, screw Pirate Software for talking down at it when he could have literally used his platform to help it instead. I know, like, it says in here, too, that they're just like, no, don't harass him, obviously. But I can talk trash on him because he's an arrogant D-bag. And that's how I feel about it. Because that kills momentum for something that's important like this. Is, like, another really big streamer or really prolific person in the streaming space that, you know, talks about games and game dev and stuff a lot. Instead of being helpful, he was intentionally unhelpful. So, yeah. I don't know if you followed any of that.
All I have seen is the backlash. Which
Like
I swear is
last year.
all I see these days. I always seem to miss the actual inciting things and I just see the backlash after the fact.
Basically,
Which is crazy, because I'm online too much as it is anyway. The fact that
Yep.
I'm online all the time and still miss out on the initial things is just...
it was a
nonsense.
rant on why Stop Killing Games doesn't work, according to him.
I mean,
and
technically
then
it
he
hasn't
just-
worked so far, but that's why we're
Yeah.
trying to get it to work.
That's me criticizing him and telling him he sucks, because Stop Killing Games is kind of important and has gotten a lot of traction. So
I'm certainly hopeful that it will have some actual positive effects this time around, because it'd be nice. We could definitely do with a win.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Especially when it comes to game preservation. Don't want us all to be stuck, like, getting ROMs of games because they can't be found anywhere else and emulating them ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, we're able to do that a lot of the time, but if there's an opportunity for the publishers to, like, allow the people who gave them money in the first place to continue playing the thing, that's kind of more ideal, I would say, because we've already invested. Yeah. Anyway, I'm repeating a lot of what you in the article said, so
That's all right.
I know I was just talking about things that suck.
Yep. I was just mentally preparing myself for the next thing.
So Microsoft laying off people again.
Yeah.
A lot of people, not just a small chunk.
Yeah, this is... it's weird, because this news was like... When was this? Less than a week ago, I think. It was like 4 or 5 days ago, maybe. That the layoffs
July
got
2nd
announced.
is when the article came out. So.
Yeah, it was like the first, second, very much start of the month sort of thing.
Yeah.
And right at the end of June, I was hearing people talking about Xbox in such a positive way, being like, man, Xbox has a bunch of great games, they're coming out with this handheld system, which, while definitely won't be as popular as the Switch 2, it's got all these great consumer benefits, where it's like, yeah, you can share games across libraries, and if you've already bought the games, then you've got it on that, and it's much more affordable than, like, the Switch 2, so it's got its own place, and Game Pass is coming out with tons of great games, and hasn't been upgraded in price since, like, the one time they did the big upgrade, and, like, Xbox is generally doing well. And then immediately Xbox was like, cool, we're gonna lay off so many people now.
Okay.
It's like the second any of these big companies like Xbox.
At that point, yeah, you have to. At that point, you have to specify like in what way are they doing well? Oh, profits? Sure.
They were doing well in terms of profits, but they'd actually done some, like, everyone wins sort of things for a while.
Yeah.
Like, they had...
For a while.
Yeah, we had a brief spell of, like, Xbox is, super successful, people are getting a more positive opinion again, and then immediately they're like, oh god, let's do the worst thing we can. That'll piss everyone off.
So the eye-watering round of cuts across Microsoft is the quote from this IGN article. And
it's only 4%, Caedo. It's only 4%. Why are we talking about this 4%
only
of the company?
4% of the entirety of Microsoft?
That's only about 9,000 employees losing their jobs and their incomes during a time where we're all struggling financially and the job market is worse than it's been in so many years. Why would we care about that?
And in the US, it's progressively getting more and more worse thanks to our government. So it's great. It's wonderful. It's so good. Billionaires are becoming more billionary.
Yeah. But it's
I'm so mad all the time.
Important that this company, which is bringing billions of dollars in each year, it's very, very important that they get rid of their low-level workers.
Wasn't there some CEO in like Japan or something that was just like, dang it, we're experiencing, a drop in profits, but I feel like our employees still need to get paid, so I'm going to take a cut to my CEO pay to make sure that they are taken care of. Yep. Why isn't that happening in the US?
Okay, you don't understand. Rich people like money.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
Oh, this made me more angry than I thought. I'm sorry.
It's terrible news. I was going to say in a year of really bad news, but it's been a multi-year stretch of bad news. Let's be real.
The layoff news in particular, like the layoff and studio closure stuff, like it has been like a snowball over several years. And a lot of people are theorizing or just, saying outright that it's because of the over expectation of like everybody playing games as much as they did during 2020 during COVID. And then like investing in a whole bunch of these, game development or game projects, and then suddenly all that interest falling off because people are going back to work and actually, have to go make money to pay for those games.
I do feel like
and not factoring that in. It was only the short-term burst thought. They were just like, oh, let's just overinvest in a whole bunch of stuff and then worry about the problems later.
Yeah, I do feel like there's a whole perfect storm of stuff like that happening. Because, as you say, that happened, and this article even points out that last year, Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard for $69 billion, huge amount of money, and then laid off almost 2,000 staff. And then a few months later, closed some other studios like Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin, and then in September of last year also cut a bunch of other staff, 650 it says here, and in May apparently they cut 6,000 staff again, which
so I also heard like Falcon of GameRanks saying the exact same thing I did like a year ago. No one is safe.
But as well as sucks. As well as the point you made about, like, the expectations being higher because everyone had more time to play games, there's also stuff, like a bunch of other stuff, one of which is a lot of these companies are like, oh yeah, we'll just get rid of the staff and use AI instead. And it's like,
there's also that
for so many reasons.
Another cost-cutting method is using AI to do all the quote-unquote grunt work that, artists like arting, by the way. Artists do like doing that.
Yeah, and
that's why they do it as a career.
I'm playing like an incredible... There's already like plenty of dialogue out there about how many corporate-focused games can feel a bit soulless. Hell, we've even had the discussion of, The Outer Worlds 2 is criticizing capitalism, but it's part of a big company. And that's already a discussion. And that, I think, is a little unfair, but I get the point they're going for.
Yeah.
But then we have these companies who are like, let's get rid of the people who have vision and talent and stuff and just get bots to do it for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the incentive for like even in Bethesda's case, I mean, I know it's gross, but we tend to talk about it sometimes, is the creations and paid mods thing. Like I was at the start, I was adamant about being like, oh, this is just mainly for modders to, you know, make a little bit of cash along with, you know, doing something they already enjoy. But it got really murky when Starfield came out, and things that now should be in the game, modders have been hired on for, like, you know, Bethesda approved kind of like add-ons and stuff like that, adding things to the game that should have been there. And it's getting worse and worse because you can see that the money motivation is the primary thing of the rest of Starfield's lifespan. Which is very disappointing.
I've kind of lost all hope for Starfield.
Yeah.
It very much just is like a place for them to make money by selling mods. Which
and
sucks.
the big turning point for me was when they added the vehicle. Like, it's like, we could have done this the whole time, but now we see that money and modders make custom vehicles give us money. So that was the motivation. This is my theory, is that the motivation for making vehicles a thing in their engine was just to make more money off of cosmetic changes to those vehicles. So, or, you know, pay to win versions of those vehicles, because there's those too. So, because they're mods, they're paid mods. You can have the one that flies. Anyway, this went into a Bethesda rant too.
It did.
That Bethesda Y series never happened, but Sarge did the Bethesda Let's Talk thing, which was very fun to do and cathartic. Anyway, Phil Spencer said some really just off-color stuff, like a CEO does, like an executive does. And I feel like I don't have to repeat it. If you want to read what he said, you're welcome to in the article that we have linked below. But overall, just sucks seeing a bunch of layoffs again. Do they have like a small list of like who specifically?
No, you'll generally find out if you're following any of these people on social media. Like, I was on Blue Sky and saw that Ophelia? I always feel like I'm gonna pronounce that wrong. She's a Bethesda community manager and she's been laid off. So, yeah, that just kind of happens. If you're following devs, you might see them post like, hey, I'm without a job now, is anyone hiring? Which is a very common post on social media these days.
On to things that don't suck from Bethesda.
Okay, good, because I was about to go even deeper into the dark of the sadness and the bad news, so I'm glad we're moving on.
If you were closer, we have some depression fudge in the fridge.
No, I'm trying to be healthy as well. And I'm trying to lose weight, because that's another thing that was making me sad. I'm like, at least this one I can control.
Just a little bit. It's a little bit of depression fudge. I have some like pressure cooked chicken though too, if you want.
Ooh,
it's really good.
Nice. I'm gonna have some salad after this. Yay!
With chicken.
No, don't have chicken. I got a little bit of ham though. A little bit of ham.
Oh, okay.
Tiny slice of cheese that I'll cut up, and then it's fine. It's fine. It's not good, but it's fine. It's healthy. And I have some control over it, unlike all the other bad stuff right now.
Yep.
Well, good stuff though. Good stuff. Good stuff, Caedo. Start on the good stuff before I depress everyone more.
According to Bethesda, this Fallout 76 stuff that we're now talking about, and it's good. It's generally good. They're the devs caring about their game that they made. In the Gone Vision patch notes earlier this month, we provided an update on how we felt the combat rebalancing project we started last year has gone so far. So the upcoming update is going to be doing another rebalancing pass, as well as changing some perks, changing how some weapons work. A lot of what this does is kind of diversify a lot of like character builds for playing or gameplay styles for Fallout 76.
Yeah.
And making it less so, I mean, last year around this same time it was like bloodied builds. So like now it's kind of like splitting a little bit more into like what is more everything else is kind of becoming viable too.
Yeah, the game is no longer, hey, you're either playing bloodied or you're weak. There's actual choices you can make now, and various builds which, at least to some degree, do work.
Yeah. And there have been several nerfs to the auto axe, and it's still powerful.
Excellent.
Because after bloodied it was auto axe, because the auto axe is so strong. Yeah, so a lot of things related to cones as well, firing cones. Changes to ranged weapons to improve the player's ability to hit targets outside of VATS, like weapon spread. I think they're just using the term cones of fire instead.
Yeah.
The formula for calculating hit chances in VATS has been rewritten to be more consistent and intuitive. Overall hit chances with most weapons will be higher, distance smaller, and more difficult enemies will sometimes be harder to hit.
Yeah. One thing I saw on this is that they're changing, like, how it detects where you're hitting large enemies, where it used to basically do the calculations based on the center of the enemy model, and now it does it on like the outer edges, so that you've actually got a decent chance of hitting big creatures in VATS, because it considers you to be closer to them effectively.
Oh,
which means if you're trying to shoot like the Scorch Beast Queen at the head, previously it would treat it as if you were distance away from like the middle of its body. And now it will treat it like you're actually at the tip of its nose as the distance away.
So it sounds like it's kind of approaching it like... I was just watching Phoenix Point footage that I had earlier, and they're like... Their VATS adjacent ring system is very, very close to that, I think. Like, it just shows you the cone of your weapon as two circles. Like a big circle and a smaller circle in the middle. And then, like... You just choose where to hit on the target, and then your character fires, and sounds cool. Nice. Explosion changes.
Yeah, you'll be happy about this. Mervs are getting buffed.
Adjusts many player weapon explosions so they lose less damage towards the outer edge of the explosion. Made adjustments to the Fat Man Experimental Merv and Frag Grenade Merv explosions to have a wider spread for the Merv projectiles.
Yeah.
Fire arrows no longer have an explosion that causes nearby targets to catch fire. Oh, that's disappointing. And increase the damage dealt by explosive arrows. Cool.
They've also reduced the weight of some explosives while increasing the weight of like the really powerful ones, which is really nice. So stuff like... Oh, go on.
Oh, where does it say that?
It's down on the thrown item weight adjustments.
Oh, thrown item weight?
Yeah, because stuff like throwing knives have gone from 0.25 down to 0.1, which makes them very nice. And stuff like the Vertibird, nice. Or Vertibot signal grenade, sorry, is from 1 weight to 0.1. They've changed
I think my Merv got ignored.
I think your Merv...
I don't see it.
Unless it's just yeah, I don't see... Maybe it's the same weight as a frag grenade, I don't know, or maybe it has just stayed the same. Because they're not changing the weight of everything.
Though. Yeah.
Yeah, frag got increased by 0.1. Nuka-Cola quantum grenades have gone from 0.5 to 1. It does feel like overall they're trying to make like the kind of stronger, more explodey ones a bit heavier, and the less damaging ones a bit lighter, which I think is generally a good idea.
Yeah, except for the floater ones, like those ones still suck though.
Yeah, that one doesn't get me. They've increased the weight by like 0.2.
It's like they have the same fuse timer as the Merv without the explosion. It's just like a pool.
Yeah. They're
it's
kind
really
of
disappointing.
good for defending a point, but you basically need such a narrow corridor that everything's getting trapped in there anyway.
Yeah.
And at that point, people will just be like, all trapped enemies, and murder them all.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Man, I'm kind of wondering about missiles, if they're changing missiles at all. Because I got a Hellfire launcher that I made, and they're a lot of fun to use.
Oh, missile launcher 5 impact 262 explosion, going to 5 impact 968 explosion.
Yeah, but the Hellfire is not even listed.
Hellstorm missile launcher?
Hellstorm?
Is that the
Wait,
same
what?
thing?
Maybe it's called Hellstorm, and I just...
Because that's 178 impact,
dumb.
178 explosion, going up to 206 impact, 206 explosion.
Oh, I'll take
so that's
that.
getting a bit of a buff. Yeah, a bunch of weapons are getting buffed. Some weapons are getting debuffed, but not many of them. Auto-axe apparently is going up from 24 base damage to 32 base damage, which... You just talked about like how the auto-axe is kind of ridiculous even after all the nerfs, and now it seems like they're buffing it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff I really like to see in this weapon-based damage buff is Boxing Glove, going up from 40 damage to 124 damage. They're
Why?
tripling the damage of it. Because it sucks. Because no one would ever use it.
Yeah, okay.
So the fact they're increasing it means it's at least not complete trash, hopefully. Still, I'm sure it's going to be bad. But I do like the idea of them being like, hey, maybe we don't need these certain weapons which you're going to get, especially in a game which relies so heavily on random RNG legendaries.
I mean,
we
I
don't
wouldn't
need them all
expect
to be
it to
garbage.
be buffed at all, really, because it's like the softest of all the punching weapons. I don't know. I want to see... Here's what I want to see. I want to start seeing more KO effect additions to the punching weapons, and then the boxing glove would have, you know, some reason to be buffed and exist.
Yeah.
In a more useful state.
I
Because that's what it's made for.
That, but...
I don't know. Like, I loved that in New Vegas. I love the golden boxing gloves. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, because they're still doing multiple combat passes. So,
yeah.
see.
One other thing I saw in this, which I really love, is that thrown weapons are now scaling with players up to level 50. Because I loved, like, at the very start of Fallout 76, when we were first playing it, you could craft a bunch of throwing knives and just one-shot basic
We were
Scorched.
murdering everything with throwing knives.
So much fun.
So fun, dude.
But now, or as it's been for the past few years or whatever, it's a case if you hit level 50 and everything scales to you after one-way stand as well. So throwing knives are practically worthless. They do so little damage.
I think there was something related to like they're considered melee, so like melee perks. Some of the melee perks affect them as well.
Even then, they still weren't good. Because even in the past, that I mean, like at most they're getting 60% extra damage when they dealt like 1% of the enemy's health bar. Now it's like, oh, you only need 50 of them to kill a basic enemy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 75 to 315.
Yeah, that's their base damage increase. Because they're scaling and stuff now, which hopefully means they're good.
And the weight's increasing too for them.
Wait, throwing knife weight isn't increasing. Throwing knives are going from 0.25 to 0.1.
Oh, that's okay. I don't number on decimals very well, apparently.
Oh, Caedo.
What?
It always makes me think of the quarter pounder, half pounder thing.
Oh, yeah.
The half pounders never got popular because people were like, no, 4's bigger than 2. And it's like, no, half is bigger than a quarter. We could have had half pounder burgers, but instead we have to be like, no, double quarter pounder. It's like the half pounder.
It's a third being slightly bigger than a quarter. What about my third pounder?
I feel like someone tried third pounders as well, but they also didn't work.
Yeah, but that's the majority of it's just a lot of weapon rebalancing.
Yeah, I do like the weapon bash damage is being increased a bunch as well, and it scales with weapons, because bashing sucks anyway. So
yeah, if you bash with a missile launcher now, you'll just explode them. It looks like that's what it seems like anyway.
I doubt it will be quite that crazy, but it will be actually somewhat effective.
Yeah, I don't know. Seems like a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. One thing I don't like here, which I've just read, is weapons now have reduced damage when exceeding their maximum range, down to 10% at double their maximum range. Which, my problem more than anything is that Bethesda has, and this is actually something across a lot of the games industry, but particularly bad with Bethesda, where they love to make it so that guns just stop working when you're like above like 10 feet away or whatever. It's like, nah, this bullet's definitely lost all its velocity at this point. And you know what? I'd appreciate it more if there was like a lore reason within the world of Fallout, where they would like, oh yeah, the guns have like degraded and the bullets are all like beaten and broken and not properly made anymore, and that's why they've got like worse velocity and worse range to them. But they've never done that sort of thing as far as I'm aware. We just have it where it's like, oh, you want to play as a sniper? Cool, you can shoot someone who's like 30 foot away, but if you shoot someone who's 40 foot away, it does 10% of the damage now. And it's like, come on. I just wish there was more range.
Just go melee, Sarge.
No, that's less range, Caedo. I want range. Actual proper range.
Just use missile launchers, Sarge, with VATS.
I don't want to do that either.
It's
I feel
like
I'm...
It's like auto-tracking missiles. So good.
Yeah. I feel like I'm punished so often for being a player who's almost good at shooting in these games and likes long-distance combat and has eyesight good enough to spot the enemies at a distance. Because the games are always like, no. You're not going to deal any damage to that enemy you've spotted and got the drop on.
Oh man, that would have been a good segue.
Oh.
Yeah, but we got to talk about perk card changes too.
Yeah. Caedo, we're not done.
I know.
The perk card changes, I genuinely am thinking about making a whole video on Fallout 76 and perk card changes. Not specifically like going over them, but the fact that I think at this point 76 might have the best perks out of any Fallout game.
Yeah.
And it's like,
they
it
could have
didn't start
stopped
that
now,
way, but...
and I would agree with you.
Yeah, because they've got rid of so much of the boring stuff. Like, the first example we have in the perk card changes is Slugger, which I think previously was like extra 10, 15, and 20% damage with two-handed melee weapons. Am I remembering that right? Yeah. Now, it's an extra 10, 20, or 30% melee damage versus crippled targets. So if you break something's limb, you're now dealing more damage that way. Which is, it's still a damage buff, but it's a situational one, which is built around playing a certain way and focusing on the crippling effect and doing that to enemies, which is great. And you can also tie that with Slugger Expert, which is now going to be called Kneecapper, which makes it so that blunt melee weapons deal double limb damage. So if you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to use like a big super sledge then, so that I can hit an enemy, do a ton of limb damage right away, and then Slugger kicks in because I've crippled one of their limbs, and then I'm dealing bonus damage afterwards. And, I want to kiss whoever made these changes. It's really good and smart, and it means you actually structure builds and theme them in a certain way rather than just being like, okay, I've maxed out the damage perk, and I've also maxed out the damage perk, and I've maxed out the damage perk, and I've also maxed out the damage perk. And it's like, it was so boring for so long.
And then I maxed out the damage perk.
Yeah, you had to spend like minimum 12 points before across your perks to just get the damage boost. And that's only if you were using one weapon type. So now they've actually made it so that you're...
Wait, 9, not 12.
No, bloody mess.
Yeah, but that's in luck.
That is in luck, but that's still 12 points across the entire thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, now they're changing it so that you actually have interesting effects.
Yeah. So then there's Gladiator, Gladiator Expert, and Gladiator Master, which are all blade-based.
They're also getting renamed, which I like.
Perks.
It's going to be Wound Salter, Meat Mincer, and Bloodluster, which are such better names.
They're cool names, but I think they could have done better.
What would you have named them?
Slicer Supreme, and Stab.
Maybe Bethesda doesn't need to like hire you. I mean, it's good for don't hire you, but just fire you in a week anyway.
Well, you put me on the spot, so I had to come up with something really...
You said you had better... You could have been better names.
I didn't say I did. I said they could come up with better names.
Yeah, I mean, Wound Salter is extra damage against bleeding enemies, which is, you know, pouring salt in the wound. That makes sense. Meat Mincer is bladed melee weapons gain extra swing speed, which kind of makes sense as well. I'm trying to think of if there's anything I've got better than that. I'm like Gnashing Blades? Maybe? Slice the Air? I don't know.
Hack and Whack and Smackin'?
Hack and Whack and Smackin', like, all of them are about the same as far as I'm concerned.
Chop that meat?
Oh, Bloodluster is your bleed effects have 35% more damage and 25% less duration, So that's an interesting one as well. So it's like bleed is more powerful but doesn't last as long.
It makes your bleed a DPS effect more so than a damage over time.
Yes. Okay.
Which is good.
My brain struggled with that for a second.
Yeah.
I'm glad you kept talking.
Makes your bleed fast. Make it bleed out fast, like you hit him in the jugular instead of just death by 1,000 cuts.
I would have actually called that one something like Thin the Blood. Because with thinner blood, you bleed faster. And I say that because I literally was writing the Blood School of Magic for my TTRPG last night, and I made an effect called Thin the Blood, which makes it so you no longer lose stacks of bleeding, and you just bleed out, essentially. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got names. The perk after that, though, is the one I think you're most excited about.
On multiple levels. Yeah. Okay? I can trash talk Starfield and I can build up 76 at the same time. So Iron Fist says rank 1, your fist weapons deal more damage based on your DR. That's damage resistance.
Yeah.
So this might actually mean that you can just wear a suit of power armor and punch really, really hard. Which is cool. But it also means that if you're able to stack your armor with, like, say, vanguards or something like that, when your health is always full, when you're a ghoul especially, like, you'll be able to hit astoundingly hard with your fist, because it doesn't say if there's a cap or not. I'm hoping there's not much of one, because this will make it absurd. And the trash talking of Starfield that I did is this was one of the suggestions I made for scaling. Like, that's what I wanted them to do, to make fists viable instead of just having 3 perks that are useless.
It's an effect that makes sense as well, because it's literally the armor you're wielding will definitely add to your punches. Like, I love it. Yeah. Honestly, so many of these effects are brilliant. They're also bringing in, like, Bullet Storm, which is the Heavy Gunner new effect, where the first rank of Heavy Gunner has been renamed to Drum Corps, which is rank 1, gain 1 stack of Bullet Storm for every 50 ammo spent, up to 10 stacks. Each stack increases damage by 3%, resets when you reload or change weapons, which, once again, if the developers and people working on this want free kisses, head over to me anytime, because you've got so many. This is brilliant. This is like, you want to be a big guns kind of character, where you just fire that minigun endlessly and you get stronger and stronger as you do so.
This is playing as the first gunner class in Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. This is literally what it does. If it stacks up to 100 shots, a bunch of bullets just pop out of you at once. It's so cool. Bulletstorm is a neat effect.
And it's another way that they're doing a damage increase without it just being like, oh, you do 10% more damage now. Yeah,
you do more damage as you sustain fire.
Yeah, you just keep on shooting and you keep dealing more damage.
Because you have big gun. So
it's obviously designed for, like, the minigun sort of thing. I don't know. I don't think you can get a quad minigun, at least not anymore. But yeah, if you can find out whatever the, like, highest ammo capacity weapon is, because as well, if you get the bringing the big guns perk, your bullet storm stack limit is doubled, and it's each stack increases damage by up to 9% at rank 3 of Drum Corps, and when you then get 20 stacks, which then means you're dealing 180% more damage, that's a big increase.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I just got down to Archer. Sorry.
Yeah, I also saw that one. We can talk about that as well. Okay. You talk about it, because I'm already excited.
Okay, alright. So, a couple of the other ones are for Bulletstorm, like Bear Arms, Pain Train, like all kind of synergizing with the big guns style. Then once we get down to the bows, which includes, like, ranged, like thrown weapons too. There's Bow Before Me, which is armor penetration bonuses plus and stagger bonuses for bows and thrown melee, which is cool. Up to 40% armor penetration, 10% stagger. And then in Archer, the new name is Hat Trick, which causes arrows and thrown melee weapons to bounce toward an additional target, dealing 80% damage. So bounce to another target does less damage, kind of like how the Tesla rifle works.
Yeah.
But that is really awesome. So, and it can max out at 3 additional targets.
Does reduce by 20% each time. But it means, like, if you just got a bunch of ghouls all stacked together, you can just throw a throwing knife at one, and it bounces to the next 3 as well.
Yeah.
You could kill 4 ghouls with 1 throwing knife.
Yeah. Imagine from stealth. Like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be absurd.
And if you pair it with a bunch of other stuff as well, you can genuinely make, like, a throwing knife themed build. Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. This is throwing knives and arrows, though, too. And, like even crossbows, I guess? So, like, you can...
I assume so. I assume they're
from pretty far
mixing
range.
bolts and arrows together.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Ninja as well also gives you extra sneak attack damage with melee and bows.
Yes.
And yeah, Death Note is extending this perk to bows and thrown weapons. So you do get potentially a double sneak attack damage with your bows and your thrown weapons and stuff.
Oh. Fire in the hole. Okay. That's funny. I had fire in the hole on my build for a lot of the time because it has the throwing arc effect, but they're just putting it in the settings menu.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have fire in the hole anymore, which is changing to strong arm.
Yeah.
That's
just thrown
funny.
weapons going further.
Yeah, man. Okay, how about Bloody Mess? Let's talk about Bloody Mess. Your 4th damage perk.
Yeah, the one which basically was essential for all builds back in the day. Now it's rank 1 is bleeding enemies you kill have a chance to explode based on your luck. And increasing ranks just gives you a chance to explode with more damage. Which is, yeah, pretty cool. I like that. That's a bit more thematic.
Yeah.
I was a bit concerned about Bloody Mess, honestly. Because Bloody Mess is the one perk where I'd be somewhat okay with them keeping it as a standard flat damage perk. Because I think it's very iconic to the series. It's in every Fallout game, maybe?
Bloody Mess, yeah.
Cool. I wasn't sure about
Correct.
like
You are
tactics and
correct.
Brotherhood of Steel. But yeah, it's like a super iconic perk for the franchise.
I'd like to... Wait. Now you're making me question it. Hold on.
Yeah, this is why I was like, maybe. It's in at least almost all of them. And also Fallout Shelter, I suppose, doesn't have perks. So... Bloody Mess is very famous within Fallout, though, is what I'm getting at. So I would have been okay with it being like the one basic damage perk, but this is more fun. It really just doubles down on the, like, exploding into gore element. And the fact there is damage based on this explosion does still make it kind of potentially powerful.
Wait, did Fallout Tactics not have it too?
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, was it? It was a trait in Fallout Tactics. Right.
Okay.
Right. It wasn't a perk in the first 3 games because it was a trait.
Yeah. Well, it still exists in them, which is fine.
Yes.
Man, I really love the last 2 perk overhauls we've got here as well. Power Armor Reboot is an automatic revive using a stim pack while in Power Armor. Previously, it was like a chance to get back up when you were in Power Armor, and they've got rid of the random chance element and just put a cooldown in.
Just pulled a cooldown, yeah.
Yeah,
which is a better way to do it, I think.
Yeah, much better way. Starts at a 10-minute cooldown, but if you get all 4 ranks, it's only a 2-minute cooldown. So if you want to be just like the tankiest Power Armor character, then getting this maxed out fits in really well with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine you'll be getting Hack and Slash.
That is a legendary perk, which I already have maxed out.
Ah, okay.
But I've also switched it out for another attribute legendary perk. So that's all I'm using now is
Oh dear.
is attribute perks because
Man,
I like they're making, you see it, like they're making all of the standard perks just really
The
good.
standard perks are really good, yeah.
So I swapped in
Annoyingly,
agility instead.
This does remind me part of why I have no plans to make any, like, 76 build videos again. Because every time I do, everyone's just like, oh, why aren't you just maxed out on every special stat? Why aren't you doing things in the most optimal way? And I'm like, there's tons of cool stuff now. There's so many people who are still just like, no, you need everything maxed out in all the ways. And that is not how I play 76 at all.
Well, I feel like it's a bit of a deterrent if they keep changing the names of perks too.
Yeah.
Because that affects longevity of your builds anyway. So, or
Yeah,
just adds confusion to people watching it. Be like, what?
It does.
What's this perk? Yeah. So you know. which sucks. Yay, online games, changing things.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's improvement, it sucks for those of us who make guides on stuff and builds.
Yeah. But we could just remake all those guides.
Yeah.
I have contemplated, like, should I remake my Ultimate Beginner's Guide at this point?
I already have, like, most of a spreadsheet done for another Fallout 3, like a new Fallout 3 Uniques guide.
Oh, okay. Man, I was considering doing a Fallout 3 Ultimate Beginner's Guide. I feel like I should really do Fallout 3, Fallout 4, maybe New Vegas, and Skyrim Ultimate Beginner's Guides. Like, part of me's like, oh, but they're old games now, I shouldn't bother. That feels weird to just randomly
And
go
then a
back and do
remaster
them.
comes out, and you're like, dang!
But yeah, there's the potential for a remaster for some of them. But also, like, it's just a sensible thing for me to do.
Yeah. That the remaster paid some bills, that's for sure.
That's good.
Just because I already had Oblivion guides done.
Yeah,
That I decided on a whim to make 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a choice.
Yeah. I didn't have much Oblivion content, and I don't think any of it really got viewed.
Yeah.
Like, any old Oblivion content, that is. I had, like, a challenge run, and I'm actually Googling. I'm checking on YouTube Studio right now to see if my old Oblivion challenge run got extra views and stuff.
I'm probably going to cut out our logistical talk, because...
Oh, you don't think people want to hear about click-through rates and percentages?
I doubt it. Unless it's on screen, which I'm not prepared to show people. So, yeah, let's move on to our topic of things that they probably like listening to more so, or
Yay.
hopefully talking about at least. 10 best first-person open world games according to TheGamer, from Michael Akuchi. Akuchi. Expertise: video games, God of War, and Tomb Raider. This bodes well.
Those are both third person.
Yep. Okay. Well, Michael, we have really high expectations, as we do every time with the Gamer articles. So let's just get into the thing. Do you want to read the intro and then...
Sure, I'll do the intro. First-person titles stand out for immersing you in the action as if you view your world of... wait, no, those aren't the words. Those are not the words.
You skipped a line.
Yeah, I just merged two lines together. I'll redo that.
Okay.
First-person titles stand out for immersing you in the action as your view of enemies and surroundings is often well-detailed and highly realistic. But I just want to say, this is not the gamer's fault. This is not Michael's fault. That was a perfectly well-written and decent sentence. That is on me. Like, we'll pick on the gamer where we have fun, but
yeah.
That's a Sarge mistake.
Okay.
Open world games allow you to take on main and side missions in a mammoth map that you can freely roam or unlock as you progress through the story. While many video games allow you to play in first-person mode or to explore a massive open world, some games have merged both features in the best way possible. These games offer vast maps with a ton of attractions that you can explore in first person. I will say, overall, this is a good intro. I think it's used first person a little too much, but I get that. I think we both have it sometimes when we write scripts and then realise that we've just said the same word or phrase over and over again.
Oh, I do it intentionally, because people don't listen.
God, but I'm like, no, I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. I expect too much out of people for videos.
That you do, honestly. Yeah.
I'm like, people will pay attention.
Maybe a lesson you haven't learned
video.
yet is you got to repeat yourself for it to sink in.
Yeah, I don't like that though. But I will say this.
Not our
this
listeners.
Intro...
Our listeners are listening actively, obviously.
Oh my god, anyone who's at this point in the podcast, I'm like, yeah, you're good. I always
when I say no one listens, I'm not talking about the people listening to the podcast, because they are listening.
Yeah, I always try and leave my, like, being mean to the audience things until, like, after the halfway point. Because at that point, you know you've got rid of all the people who just aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
You've actually got listeners and fans and people who want to focus on the content and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, the point I was getting at is this is a better intro than a lot of gamer articles we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
So
I'm also not familiar with articles written by this dude, so
Yep.
this might be a quality change.
Yeah.
I hope
every
not,
once
because
in a while,
it might
we
be
do
kind of
get a good
boring.
gamer article.
But we
It's
will
fine,
see.
Because you get to talk about a game you really like in the number 10
Oh,
slot.
I'm starting at number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10, Dying Light. Memorable parkour fun. And they even have this is snazzy. They have the
They've
Dying Light
updated the
open
gamer.
critic thing, and wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it says there aren't many FPS open world titles where you can parkour around a zombie infested city, hence why Dying Light is remembered for being a unique game. Beyond the ability to scale walls and buildings at night or day, the game stands out for its well-detailed environment, which you get to appreciate even more from a first-person perspective. You get to explore a mammoth map filled with zombies, courier missions, herbs to harvest, and tons of consumables to loot. Guns or bullets aren't as frequent as the zombies you encounter, so you have to plan every attack. Fortunately, safe zones are scattered across the map, so you can always find the nearest one and hide there when the zombies are in hot pursuit. This reads like they haven't played it and watched gameplay, which is fine, because it still kind of gets the vibe.
Okay,
but
I was going to say, as someone who's only played a little bit of this game, that all seemed accurate to me.
it seems accurate, yeah, but there was no emphasis whatsoever on the shift between night and day. Like,
Yeah.
the whole theme of the game, the name of it.
Yeah.
Like, when it's nighttime, it's terrifying, and that's when the survival ramps up and Dying Light gets its namesake. So that's just something worth mentioning, that but Dying Light is a really good open world survival parkour first person game.
Yeah.
That has co-op as well, which also should have been mentioned. Not many of these are probably going to involve co-op, but this one is up to 4.
Technically got it mentioned in the little weird square thing with the meta score and stuff, where it says there's online co-op. Also says the engine is Chrome Engine 6.
Where?
Very important stuff.
And I'll hit the rate now button and see what happens.
Oh god.
I'm just kidding.
Right. I think it's weird how the Open Critic reviews top critic average is 74 out of 100. Critics rec, which I guess is recommend, is 49%, so most critics apparently don't recommend this game.
That's so
Is
weird.
what I'm reading that from. Yeah. I'm going to do a whole video at some point talking once again about how I kind of hate review scores and the better review score system I think should be in place. But
Okay, it says player rating 80.
wait, you've
Critics
got player
recommend
rating?
49. Top critic average is 74.
I don't have a player rating on my end.
If you click on the rate now, or the open critic reviews part,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it'll show the actual
Oh, fancy.
thing. Ooh, this is fancy.
That's a bunch of stuff. Okay. I'm not going to click on that again, though. I'm instead just going to move on to the next one.
Okay, what's the next one, Sarge?
At number 9 is Far Cry 5. Rural America has never looked better. If you've always been a Far Cry enthusiast, then you should know that Far Cry 5 gets a lot of things right, especially with its open world design. Typical of a Far Cry game, you get to make your way across a giant map that's an excellent replica of rural America. You get to conquer tough terrain like mountains, and take on the enemy bases that swarm the area. Liberating the bases offers amazing rewards, but you need to be aware of sudden wild animal appearances. Exploring Far Cry 5's map is a richly satisfying thing to do, especially when doing so in first person. Okay, I do get a bit of your, feels like they haven't played a lot of it yet, 'cause that is very generic. But I do agree. I don't think they're wrong with this.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Far Cry 5 is probably my favourite Far Cry game.
I think it's just generally treated as one of the best, too.
Yeah, it's really, really
Because
good.
when I talk about New Dawn and the Games for Fallout fans thing, people were being like, Far Cry 5 is better. Why don't you just talk about Far Cry 5? And I'm like, it's not post-apoc.
Yeah.
The nuke didn't happen yet.
I mean, it's spoilers, I suppose, for Far Cry 5, but New Dawn is the sequel to it, so New Dawn wouldn't exist without 5 as well. I think also the fact that there is a sequel to this mainline Far Cry game speaks a
true.
lot to it.
Yeah.
Because the closest we've really had to that before is like Blood Dragon, which kind of merged between DLC. It wasn't even a sequel, but it was like an expansion which took things differently, and that was the first
That's like
time
a
they'd
spin-off
done it in that way.
expansion.
Spin-off,
kind of
that's
thing.
the term, yeah. But yeah, Far Cry 5 is really, really good. I play it like every couple of years at this point now, and it holds up well. It's a lot of fun. It's very good. It's got a interesting story. Yeah, it's good. It's really, really good.
It's got Ubisoft drug trips. You love those.
Yep. So always got to
They
have
always
one
have
of those.
drug trips in their games for some reason.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about and have like huge amounts of nostalgia for Far Cry 3, and I get it. At the time, it was like, oh yeah, they finally hit the formula right. But I've seen Far Cry 3 footage recently, and I'm like, God, this looks terrible. Whereas Far Cry 5, it was released back in 2018, so it is over 7 years old at this point now, and it still looks good. Like, you wander around the map and you're like, this is really pretty. It's
even seeing the screenshots, like, it's good to me.
And I mean, I've made.
Oh, that's not a
Patreon
screenshot. That's just art.
as well. The last one is definitely art. The first one I can't tell if that's. I think that's just photo mode. The second one is definitely like combat stuff going on, but also looks like they've arted it up a bit.
Yeah.
But the game does look very good. And I'm actually going to send you my little pictures of it, because I've got them saved. If I can go through my like 20 different folders to reach them.
Because like I can use that as the backdrop for this part.
I don't know how many I have.
As we like throw your B-roll in here just for the hell of it and see if people notice.
I have 5 I'm sending to you.
Yay!
It's not a lot.
Pretty pictures.
I might have some Far Cry footage as well.
Oh, it's a dog. I love dogs.
I also have Far Cry
Except dog meat.
New Dawn.
Who sucks?
Okay. I do call you out at multiple times in my current Fallout series I'm making. Hating dog meat. I've also sent you a Far Cry New Dawn so you can see how pretty that looks.
Yeah. No, New Dawn is very pretty.
Yeah. It's
Lots
like
of pink.
Vibrant post-apocalyptic, which is
Lots of
nice.
pink
You
and
don't see that
vibrant.
often.
Vibrant look. I think I used the term vibrant for when I was describing it, because like vibrant wasteland playground is not usually words you put together.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not really much of an Ubisoft person, just because I know their games have slowly just become, well, not slowly, they've just kind of become somewhat cookie cutter and safe, and the maps are filled with just tons of stuff that a lot of which doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I feel like Assassin's Creed is where they go for that a lot more than Far Cry. Like, there are some Far Cry games where I'm like, not so much into it. Like, Primal and 6 were both ones where I was like, nah, this just doesn't hit the same. But I think Assassin's Creed, especially with how many of them they put out and how quickly they put out, it can become quite samey and all of that, and it's a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the next. Metro Exodus. 3 sandbox areas that feel like an open world. This is breaking the rules. You're breaking your rules already. We're only down to number 8. You're breaking your rules. It says, although Metro Exodus doesn't exactly offer the traditional open world feeling where you can travel freely from one section to another, it still does a fabulous job with the 3 areas you get to visit throughout your gameplay. There's no better way to play this game than in FPS mode, as its forests, flooded surfaces, and arid lands look more lifelike when viewed from an up-close perspective. Of course, this game isn't entirely based on exploration, so you are often treated to combat with mutated entities and rival human factions. The few but thrilling side missions that you encounter further enrich the experience of Metro Exodus. There's no better way to play this game than in FPS mode.
Is there a different way to play the game?
I don't think there is. I don't remember there being a third person at all. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I was also thinking, like, I'm not aware
But I played it when it
this
came
as a
out, and
third-person game.
it was only first person.
I'm gonna Google that real quickly.
Nope.
I'm not getting very good answers. I mean, to bring it back to the grumble AI stuff is, I'm getting like AI answers, which are obviously completely useless. And I'm just like, oh, here is what first person and third person are, and I'm like, no, that's not the question I asked. But it was definitely an FPS game. Maybe there was a third person mode.
Saying FPS mode is starting to concern me a little bit. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Forests, flooded surfaces, and arid lands look more lifelike when viewed from an up-close perspective. This is a very like uninformed, like almost extremely uninformed take from how it is, because these are some of the most atmospheric first-person games out there. The Metro series as a whole. As I said though, Metro Exodus is like the open world, like pseudo open world one, where it has like big zones to explore around, and I think you can drive around, but even that wasn't first person, if I remember right. So like, yeah, I'm still confused.
Okay.
But
a little bit of confusion, but
I agree though that it is a good open world-ish game, but it's not. It doesn't really follow. Like, we're going to start skirting the rules as we go, I think, because as they got partway through, they were just like, this is not actually an open world game.
I think I can accept being like, oh, okay, it's big connected zones.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I think of the Borderlands franchise as open world, but then I'm like, wait, you go through load zones.
It's huge
and
connected
stuff,
zones, though.
Yeah. I can kind of give that a pass, but that's pretty much the only grey area I think I have for open world.
Even ones that have come out recently, like over the last couple of years, that we really enjoy, that are first person, are also, no spoilers, but open zone kind of games.
I mean, there's also stuff like Skyrim. Everyone would agree Skyrim is open world. But if you head into Whiterun, then you're going for a load zone. And it's like, well, does that stop it from being open world? And it's like, where exactly are you going to draw the line? Because I feel like some games are always going to be a bit iffy.
Yeah. I mean, the entirety of Skyrim is walkable, though, if you don't walk into the cities. So, like, I think that's one of the determining factors.
If you don't walk into the cities. And then if you want
but
to
the
go
entire
to, like,
landscape of Skyrim itself. Like, you can walk across the whole region, as opposed to, Metro Exodus, for example. You can't walk from one end to the other. You have to actually do the progression of the story.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a pretty key difference. Anyway, next one.
Yes, number 7 is Starfield. Explore galaxies and shoot like a pro. Since its release in 2023, Starfield has remained a popular choice for space exploration fans to play. Although it's still played by the usual loading screens that limit its open world feel, combat in Starfield is a joy to witness as it looks and feels realistic. What's more, shooting is incredibly enjoyable in this game, as you can opt for long-range or short-range offense. Aside from visiting planets littered across the galaxies, you also get to blow up enemy spacecraft from your ship. It's not the best Bethesda game in recent years, but it outclasses many games in terms of world building and FPS combat. I love how we've just dunked on Starfield a whole bunch of this episode. Also, have you seen what their 4th picture is here?
This is asking me to dunk on the game. Wait.
So, the 4th picture, you might need to like copy this and put this into the edit at this point, because this is so weird. It's like
this is a shot from the creation kit, or from like the Gamebryo screenshot, like from a preview window instead of the actual game.
Yeah. It's an Oblivion armor guy in like a castle sort of thing.
This is funny.
That's not Starfield.
No, it isn't.
It's really not Starfield.
It's like, I just gotta fill up all these 4 screenshot spots. I'll just put an Easter egg ? That's funny.
This is also the top critic reviewed game we've seen so far in this list.
Yeah, why didn't you say how bug-free its launch was? Man, that was a big deal.
That was a big deal. It's like, To be fair, I think Starfield is one of those games where if you don't play a lot of it, it is a lot better than if you do play lots of it.
Yeah, the longer you play it, the more exhausted you get.
Yeah, because I remember really enjoying it when I first played it for like
same.
the first 5 or 6 hours. But as an open world game specifically, this big open world RPG, which is huge, so much bigger than any other game, it really suffers from getting worse the more you play.
Yeah, and the New Game Plus kind of shines a light on like how truly repetitive some aspects of it can be. Like, I don't know, the temples, for example.
Yeah.
Like, God, I can't believe they did it that way.
Yeah.
Just bad. Also the lockpicking / I don't know, what are they called? The hacker.
Whatever it was. I don't have a problem with that. I'm neutral towards
it's
venue
so
hacking,
time consuming
but
compared to lockpicking.
Yeah.
I mean, open a container.
Yeah, Bethesda kind of did nail the lockpicking minigame with Fallout 3 and Skyrim and Fallout 4, and then they've changed it a bit, and it's like, nah. That's another thing I'm going to mention in my...
It's not broken!
No, yeah, it's not broken, but it's not a thing they needed to fix. What they needed to fix was like the legendary system, which they were like, no, let's do this even more, and let's pretend that the word unique has no definition. Yeah, let's be stupid.
Yep. So this list says best. And the open worlds are divided by many loading screens.
Yeah, this is the thing as well. Like,
and some of
is
them
technically open
are
world,
boring.
But God, yeah, it's also like
depending on RNG.
Starfield feels more zone based to me than even like Borderlands, which I mentioned previously.
Oh yeah.
Even though technically Borderlands is more zone based, Starfield, the fact that the only big places you can walk through are like empty barren planets, Starfield kind of sucks. That's what I'm getting at here. I was going to do a whole big thing, and I just deflated.
Yep. Starfield playthrough 1, pretty good. Yeah, good main story, but again, the longer you play it, the more you start getting annoyed.
Yeah.
At least that's my experience.
All of its best elements have something to them which makes it worse. Like, shipbuilding is amazing, but actually doing anything with your ship, kind of boring. Like, they mention in this that they think combat's really good. And you know what? I don't think combat's bad. I wouldn't go so far as to be like, oh yeah, it's great, it's amazing. But there is some cool stuff to it. But then you've got the legendary system, which just makes every weapon acquisition completely random. And it's a real roll of the dice as to whether you'll get a cool, fun weapon or something garbage and trash.
Combat's good if you roll well.
Yeah.
Or some of the combat goodness is determined by that, which really does suck.
Yeah. And it's like, just every good thing about Starfield has something within the
guaranteed
game which ruins
suck
it.
If you decide to use your fists in any capacity.
Yeah.
Or melee weapons to a degree too, because like they still kind of suck too. So yeah.
Oh, it's September 6th was the release date. I should do a Starfield 2 years later video in September. That'll be fun. I'll show off all the changes and
be more
what's different with the game.
Progressively more salty.
Yeah. If I do one every single year, it'd be great.
Bring me on if you want.
Yeah.
I could be the salty boy.
You know what? I'm actually going to write a note of that down somewhere so that I remember to do it. Just at the start of September. Give me something to do then. I'm not busy in September, it's fine.
Alright, number 6. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Go from zero to hero in a medieval world. Many RPGs based in the medieval era have been released, but not many can match the thrill of playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, known for its memorable opening, where you start with a low-skilled character who's easily beaten up by rivals. As you progress through the storyline, you level up and become an unstoppable warrior. The game does a fantastic job of recreating the sights of a medieval world that you can travel across. combat can be clunky at times, but it still feels satisfying to slay enemies. Nothing said about historical accuracy.
But that's everything people talk about when it comes to this game. This is like the whole thing about it.
But yeah, which is why it should be brought up.
I didn't particularly enjoy this game, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It very much wasn't for me. But a lot of people really love it. A lot of people really are just into this game and the sequel. The sequel even more so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it never really appealed to me. I also,
it's the based in reality thing. Like, I don't really like playing something that's based in so historically accurate that it is kind of reality feeling. Whereas I don't play games for that, really. So
it also felt like it was being intentionally annoying with the realism at points. One of the main things I remember about it is when you leave your house, you have to like go through a few different doors, and each time you have to press open door, your character stops, grabs the door, opens it, steps through,
like
the door behind them,
immersive interaction.
and then you can go. Yeah,
stuff.
and it's just, there's a lot of little things like that where I'm like, this is just making the experience worse. You could have just had me walk forward and I push the door open as I go. Like, so many games do that, but this game was very much...
I can speak to that with like Horizon Forbidden West, actually, because originally when it first came out, Aloy would physically grab like herbs and stuff, for her, arrows and stuff like that. Like physically grab them. So the animation had to play through for you to get the item, but you would do it so freaking much in the game that it would cut into your actual playtime for the amount of stuff you had to gather. Because you needed ammunition and stuff like that to fight the freaking robot dinosaurs. So when I played it, I found out that they actually added a toggle in the settings to like just not have that animation play at all. And you just pick it up without any movement, any extra movement or anything like that. And it made the game a lot shorter for me, and I'm so glad, because by the end I was ready to finish.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of things, they don't ruin games or anything, but they are just really frustrating. And if you're not already like a big fan of the game, I find that's just the sort of thing that'll push you to the negative rather than the positive. It's just like, I have to do this really slow and tedious thing over and over again, and it serves no real benefit, the slow and tedious part of it. Cool.
But a lot of people do like it.
Yeah, and I think
this
Kingdom
counts
Come
for the list.
Deliverance, it did a very good job of appealing to a specific audience, and I do rate it well for that reason.
And you technically play in first person, but you can also play in third person, I think?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Like, I think you play
you see
in
Henry's
first
face a
person.
lot in the cutscenes,
I think
too,
they have, like, dialogue and cutscenes and a lot of stuff, where they do it in the same, like, Fallout 4 sort of way, where you get to see your character while chatting. But I think it's mostly a first-person game anyway. I think this at least qualifies for the list.
Yes.
All right.
I agree. As did not Starfield. Metro Exodus. Sorry. Next one.
Number 5. Yep, number 5, Stalker 2. Mutants, Radiation, and Skiff. Few games come close to Stalker 2 in terms of immersion, a vital feature of open-world titles. Instead of loading screens, you get to make your way across the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Of course, you have to be wary of the environment, as radiation poisoning and monsters are two major villains in the game. Like most post-apocalyptic games, you will encounter hostile NPCs, and this is where stealth kills work best. Thankfully, Stalker 2 makes you play with a first-person view, a choice that increases your sense of involvement in its open world. The well-designed character models of NPCs, plus their impeccable voice acting, further enrich the gameplay.
I'm starting to lose hope on this list.
Oh, what do you mean? In what way?
The nothing. Let's see. Not really mentioned. Radiation poisoning and monsters are the two major villains in the game. That's not quite accurate.
I mean, this does read a bit generic again.
It really does, and like anomalies are a huge part of Stalker. like big, like one of the reasons you play kind of things.
Yeah.
Because anomalies are how you get your artifacts and stuff like that, like your modifiers and stuff. And those are the things that, you know, give you radiation, but also give you powers. Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit annoyed, I guess, is the word, of how every entry is like, and being in first person means you get to see stuff closer, and isn't that immersive? And it's like, we don't need this for every entry. Being like, oh, first person means you're looking at the thing directly. It's like, that was already mentioned in the intro. Feels like that's just kind of being put in. These are quite short entries as well, which does kind of, I feel like, add to the, okay, maybe this person hasn't actually played a lot of these games.
I wouldn't say immersion is vital for open world titles either.
No.
It's nice, depending on the game,
cool.
but it's not vital.
Yeah. One of my favourite, probably considered open world, maybe considered open world games, is Chained Echoes, which is not immersive. It's your old top-down kind of looking thing.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. And so many games have that. So many open world games have that. Yeah. And also, God, Elden Ring, I'd say, is actually quite immersive. Like, and that's third person, but you really get sucked into that world. It's by no means required.
The Bloodline.
I love it.
The Bloodline is like goofy Skyrim. It's not very immersive at all, but it's sure as heck real fun to play, because you can ragdoll yourself and your enemies and grappling hook through trees like Spider-Man. It's great. It's a good time. And it has respect to a martial arts build. Which is like my biggest positive of that game. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only thing you really need to be like, oh yeah, this is a
I
good
would
game
say
now.
any Stalker game would work for this list, because they are, you know, first-person open-world games that are very focused on atmosphere. I think atmosphere is one of the words that this person was looking for, but they haven't used yet. Because both Metro and Stalker have atmosphere as one of their, you know, main game feel things.
Yeah.
And necessary for like both the horror elements of both of these games too. So yeah. Good stuff. There's no what is this rating? 10 out of 10 from what?
Yeah. This is 10 out of 10 from 3 Shadow People and a star is the rating we get this time.
There's no open critic link or anything like that. It's just 10 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah. This is the best rated game. Nobody has ever left a negative review for it, apparently. So, there we go.
All right. Well, there's a reason I haven't bought it, is because of its horrible performance issues at launch.
No, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Okay. All right.
Why don't you move on to number 4?
Okay. Number 4. You'll never guess. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Skyrim's world gets more attractive with each playthrough. That's one way to say I have a sunk cost. Skyrim is one of those games that you can't get tired of playing, even though its graphics are dated. My god. Okay. It still attracts a huge following due to its impressive open world, which, with the help of a few mods, looks greater than ever. Combat in Skyrim isn't exactly top tier, but the fact that you can use various weapons and playstyles to deal with enemies makes it an experience every RPG fan should have. Whether you play it with mods or without, Skyrim's breathtaking landscapes look inviting all the same.
I appreciate that Michael has put in a few caveats here, being like, hey, look, it's not the best, it does have some issues. That's the positive thing I have to say.
But unfortunately, it's equal parts negative and positive.
Yeah.
When this is supposed to be a best list.
It is. Like, I get it. But we even have the release date here. November 11th, 2011 is when Skyrim first came out. It's old. It's real old.
Yeah.
And that shows.
Yes.
It really shows. Also, the whole, one of those games you can't get tired of playing is quite funny when the two of us are definitely tired of playing Skyrim.
Oh, we're so tired.
I've had to jump back into it recently, and I had been thinking to myself, oh, maybe I should give Skyrim another chance and just do a little casual playthrough, see how I feel. And just like doing 20 minutes of playing the game just to get to a point where I could record some footage. I was like, nah, I'm done with this. I'm done with it.
I was
bored of
wondering
Skyrim.
when I saw it pop up on Discord, you just threw on Skyrim, and I was just like, oh, I wonder what Sarge is doing. And then a few minutes later, you weren't playing it anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I need to get some footage from Skyrim. I'll need to get footage from Skyrim for a few videos, because I am going to make some video essay type videos that involve Skyrim, and I'll probably put it in the title and stuff, because people love Skyrim. People love Skyrim so much. I think Caedo and I are exceptions somewhat, and they can't get tired of playing whole things. There's so many people who are just obsessed with it.
Yes. But I also understand why in some ways, because we also we're trained on looking at the game very differently from just playing it. So there's aspects of Skyrim that I have kind of memorized or in my memory banks that make it less fun to explore.
Oh yeah.
It's for those of you who are interested into why it's a fatigue related thing for Skyrim, for me at least, is like, it's because I have so much knowledge now that there's very little surprise left for me in exploring the world of Skyrim, which is part of why I play open world games to begin with. So
yeah. God, I can do the entire start of the game to walking through like the intro through Riverwood and into Whiterun and to like Dragon's Reach. I can do all of that in my head, and I've memorized like almost every pixel at this point.
Yeah.
I can tell you when the bats show up when you're crossing the bridge and stuff. Like, there's so many little details where I'm like, this should just be a fun little thing, but I've played it too much now. God. Yeah. It took me well over 1,000 hours to hit Skyrim fatigue. I will say that, because I am realising that I'm just being negative here.
Yeah.
And it is a brilliant game, and it deserves to be on this list.
Yes.
I think it even deserves to be... I don't know if he's actually ranking them like 10 to 1, but we're saying that is the case now. And I do think 4th place is solid for it. Like, I'd be a bit upset with it at number 1, because I do think there's technically better games now. You know, it has been almost 14 years since Skyrim came out. So...
if it were number 1, it would have to be like Skyrim Anniversary or something like that. And even at that, like, Skyrim Anniversary breaks stuff in the game. So
yeah,
breaks things in making some things just unbalanced.
Yeah, God. Obviously, I'm on Anniversary Edition, and I was like, oh yeah, there's just fire arrows randomly here, which do like giant explosions and can kill everything right away. Good to know.
Yep.
Yeah. I do really wonder what Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be like, given Skyrim's whole reputation over all of these years. Because I think it's impossible for Elder Scrolls 6 to actually live up to the Skyrim hype.
It won't. It will not. But we can hope that some things were actually taken into account.
Yeah. Let's hope Bethesda isn't just on a downward slope with their games now.
Don't forget Punch Cat builds, Bethesda.
Yeah. I'm sure. No, I'm not sure Punch Cat will be a thing, actually. I'm sure Khajiit Thief will be a playstyle you can do. I'm not sure. I have no confidence. Let's move on to number 3. Caedo's favourite game of all time, Cyberpunk 2077. Night City at its best. Cyberpunk 2077 made a historic comeback after the dreadful feedback from gamers following its initial release.
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. Don't you dare blame gamers. Don't you dare. Michael.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now mostly free of the annoying bugs, this is the ideal place to spend your weekends. Night City looks spectacular in first person, and as you explore while driving, there's always something new to discover. Cyberpunk 2077 benefits from exquisite storytelling and character development, which will keep you attached from start to finish. The game's fast-paced combat is tons of fun, and closely resembles the Call of Duty series in that regard.
What?
Yeah, that's weird. That is not at all the comparison I think anyone would make. Has Michael not played first-person shooters before? I think we were both coming into this like, oh, there's a bit of weirdness in the open world thing, but maybe Michael's just not played FPS games. And he's like, oh, what's another FPS game which is good shooting? COD, obviously.
You can at least go, like, sci-fi adjacent, like, I don't know, Destiny?
It doesn't resemble Destiny at all.
The shooting.
No, it doesn't.
No?
They're not a similar feel.
Alright.
Like, COD's not a similar feel either, but I'm trying to think of what I would compare it to. And it's... Honestly, I wouldn't... There's nothing that springs to my mind as, like, a comparison in terms of a shooting. Like, it's got... The thing is... It's
style to it that other games don't usually.
Yeah.
Like, because I just keep thinking back to, like, Johnny Silverhand's gun and how many reload animations it has. Mm-hmm. Which is unnecessary. But most games don't do that. Yeah. Because it has, like, 3 separate reload animations, I think. Maybe 4.
Yeah, I really can't compare the shooting too much to anything else, because if you are going for the generic comparison, then yeah, it's just your standard FPS shooter. It feels very much like that. It's only when you get into the super specific stuff like, oh, all the reload animations for Johnny Silverhand's revolver, that's where you're suddenly getting into the, you can actually compare it to something specific, and then you've got so specific within the mechanics that it's difficult to compare it to anything else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think comparing it to COD is dumb in multiple ways.
Maybe comparing it to like movies would be better.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because like they designed weapons off of like things from like Equilibrium and stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, the combat as well isn't just gunplay, which is like all Call of Duty really does.
The monowire is based off Johnny Mnemonic.
And the Keanu Reeves is also based off of Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact I've mentioned Call of Duty, which is all about guns, and Cyberpunk also has like a lot of melee and quick hacks, which just is not a thing. Like, that's very weird. But we have got a bit caught up on the final sentence. Overall, I think this does deserve to be on the list. I will say that.
It fits.
Yeah. Like, obviously, Caedo, you're really not a big fan of this game.
There's
many issues with it.
It's a half and half for me, which is why I'm so angry all the time about it. Because, like, man, if any other game did uniques like Cyberpunk did Iconics, I would be so happy.
Yeah. But
they don't. And Cyberpunk is the best example right now. And I'm mad about that because of how Cyberpunk launched and how shafted everybody was in many different ways. And also how they had to waste a whole bunch of, of their time fixing the game instead of making expansions that they had promised. So like there's a lot that I'm still uppity about, but even like the character stories and like the actual story of Cyberpunk, I do enjoy. I like. Oh man, I still like that stuff.
I'm kind of opposite on that. I didn't enjoy a lot of the narrative with Cyberpunk. I was not a fan of many of the stories and stuff, but I really loved the gameplay and kind of like the world and things.
Yeah.
But
and once it was polished up too, like the gameplay, solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Like perk changes and stuff have made things a lot more interesting for me in terms of like build.
I still haven't played since the perk changes.
I like them, but I can almost guarantee that we will have a negative comment about the perk changes on this video.
A negative what?
A negative comment about the perk changes on this video. Because the people who don't like the changes really don't like them. Oh. There's a lot of people who basically had builds that they were already using, but perks changed, and now they are still angry about it. It's what I tend to find.
Like me, but about something different. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah. Cyberpunk is number 3. Makes sense.
Yep. What's number 2, Caedo?
Oh, it's another Bethesda game. Can you guess what it is, listeners? It's Fallout 4. A wasteland rich in adventure. What are we going to say about this one? Fallout 4 is what happens when a sole survivor searches for his kidnapped son in a harsh and unforgiving wasteland. This is an all-time favorite for its expansive map, which is filled with lore secrets, enemy hideouts, and hidden rewards. The fact that you can travel the wasteland with different companions makes the journey feel less boring. Although you can switch from third person to first person, you will likely enjoy playing with a more intimate view. If you're looking to increase your playthrough, you can also check out some quest mods. Fallout 4 ranks among the PC games with an overly active modding community. That read weird for me. I don't know if it was me or if it was the thing.
It wasn't you. This is a very weirdly worded one.
Also,
especially
really
the start being like, this is what happens when quest of the game.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm checking the URL too, and this is not PC Gamer. This is TheGamer, with 2 sentences recommending mods or the use of mods, and not everybody has access to those.
Yeah, but
so
it's also a case of
unfair addition to this list, I think.
Bethesda games always get lumped in with mods, and the discussion is so often, I'm going to play Fallout 4, or I'm going to play Skyrim for the first time ever. What mods are a must-have to install?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Often the discussion.
But there's also enough for it to stand on its own. Like, they could have mentioned that it's got a strong modding community.
Guy. I'm the anti-mod guy. I'm fully on board with the. No, we don't need the mods. It's fine. I am actually a bit surprised that Fallout 4's this far down on the list. I agree with it being this far down on the list.
At number 2?
Because I love Fallout 4, yeah. But I feel like Fallout 4 gets a lot of hate from people, especially because a lot of folks see this as kind of where Bethesda started going wrong. And a lot of people are like, no, we loved New Vegas and Skyrim was also good, but then Fallout 4 wasn't as good in our opinion.
It was a handful of things too. It was the merch stuff, it was the dialogue, it was what else? The voice pro tag. It was a combination of things. Just a lot of experiments that Bethesda decided to do at once. Some of which were still good. By the way,
I mean, Fallout 4 does definitely have its flaws.
Yeah.
I think all the stuff you mentioned are, in my opinion, at least valid flaws. But I think especially because the games Bethesda has released after Fallout 4 have been generally viewed negatively by the wider gaming community, that kind of solidified a lot of people as like, yeah, Fallout 4 was a step in the wrong direction. Where really it was a handful of things which were bad, which most of which actually got improved in their future games, and then they messed up all the other stuff instead.
That's really funny. Yeah, because some of the things did get dramatically improved in 76.
I mean, dialogue and stuff, that's Bethesda have improved that in every subsequent game.
Just about every aspect too. Like the weapon improvement or modification aspect for like weapons and armor, the perks, the camp system and the workshop system, all like a lot of improvements. But guess what stayed the same? The looting system.
No, that got worse. Legendary's got worse.
No, I mean the loot menu. Sorry, the loot menu.
Wait, what specifically is the loot menu?
It's looting at a glance instead of needing a separate window.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, God, I don't even think about that.
Because it's such a normal thing now. A lot of games use it now, and Bethesda did it. Bethesda started it, and even the Prey devs were like, "Hey, that's pretty cool, guys. We're gonna use that too."
Yeah,
because they were made around the same time.
Fallout 4's great. As someone who is playing it constantly at this point, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's like my most frequently played game at the moment. It's really good.
I've been enjoying your strong playthrough.
Yeah. I mean, I've already finished that, but it's still going up on the second channel.
Yeah.
And Fallout 4's almost 10 years old now.
Yep.
It's coming up to the 10-year anniversary, and it holds up better than a lot of other games.
That's true.
It's not had like a proper remaster or anything. Like Skyrim had the special edition and the anniversary edition. Fallout 4 technically had like some Creation Club stuff thrown in last year, and that was it. And it's still holding up really well.
Oh yeah, they had the next gen update.
Yeah, which I'm really annoyed they called it that, because it sounds like it's going to be a graphical overhaul or something, whereas all it really was throwing in some Creation Club content.
Well, for PC, yeah, but it was called next gen because it was made available for next gen consoles.
Yeah,
So
but it's not like it got any actual performance improvements
No.
or proper significant stuff. It's
because
just
then,
like, hey,
then
you're
it
allowed
would be
to play
called a
the game as it is.
remaster or a extra sexy edition or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but or Gek edition. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so I will agree with like the first part. Like it's, Fallout 4 is what happens when a soul survivor searches for his kidnapped son of the friggin'
Yeah, that's literally the main quest.
all-time favorite for expansive map, which is filled with lore secrets, enemy hideouts, and hidden rewards. That's kind of all you need for describing an open world first-person game, and saying there's stuff to find, there's cool, things to learn. And Fallout 4 has that too. Like unprompted, you can find out the dealings and the problems in between the various raider gangs of Fallout 4. There's no quests tied to that. It's just some really cool interactivity between the raider gangs that you can just walk by. So, like, it has that, and also the the pre-war skeletons, which are always fun.
Oh
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hazard a guess as to what number 1 is.
Oh, what do you think it is?
Oh, I'm wrong.
What did you think it was before you checked and ruined the surprise?
I'm actually mad now.
You
I
gotta
thought
say
it was
it now.
going to be. I thought it was going to be New Vegas.
Oh.
Yeah,
No. See, I
but
didn't think it was going to be that, considering these games are mostly more modern.
Yes, modern-ish. But Skyrim
this-
is a 2011 game, but it also is kind of an outlier.
Yeah,
So-
Skyrim is the outlier. Before that, God, it's 2015 is like the oldest games, which are Dying
Yeah.
Light and Fallout 4. Everything else is like from the past decade. So yeah, New Vegas too old. Too old. And Skyrim's the only one which has been able to stick around. And it does get re-released all the time, so that's probably why.
Yeah, that's so wild that Fallout 4 is okay. Anyway, what's number 1, Sarge? It's disappointing.
Number 1, actually from 2013, so one of the other oldest games on the list, strangely enough, is GTA 5. Famous first-person game GTA 5. Heists look better when done in first-person mode. It's hard to find an open-world enthusiast who hasn't played this game. If you've previously played GTA 5 in third-person mode, expect a largely different experience when playing in first-person. This perspective enhances your immersion while robbing a jewelry store, or piloting a helicopter that's hauling a container bearing a dangerous toxin. GTA 5's open world is still alluring due to the density of side activities, such as boat and motocross races. It's also a great game to unwind with after a stressful day, as you can set a custom route and drive from Los Santos into rural sandy shores and back.
My brow is very furrowed.
So, do you want to start or shall I start?
It's a third-person open world game. Doesn't matter if they put in first person later.
So yeah, you can play it in first person, and I've done a bit of first person gameplay with it. But I'll also say, the first person mode in GTA 5 is not particularly good. It's real clunky. It very much is a third person game, where they later put in a first person mode, and it technically works. But it feels really janky at points as well. It's not a smooth first-person experience. Like, genuinely, like Skyrim and stuff, playing in first-person feels so much more fluid than GTA 5 first-person does.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit rough at times. I know this because I played through all of GTA 5, and I played through it at a time where I really couldn't stand third-person, and I had the option to play in first-person, and I very rarely played in first-person still. Because it's not good.
So, I feel like we got to the end of the list, not just me being disappointed that I was kind of right, even though I was like, what if it's GTA 5? But it was. But also that I feel like the writer here is just trying to push GTA 5 because he likes it. Because this is also, it feels like the most like hyper specific examples this perspective enhances your immersion while robbing a jewelry store or piloting a helicopter that's hauling a container bearing a dangerous toxin.
Those are two of the heists from within the game.
Those are fairly specific.
Yeah.
Whereas like previous examples were a lot more broad with what you experience.
This person has definitely played through some of the heist missions, and I feel like the toxin transport one, I feel like that's halfway through the main story. It's been a while since I played, but that's not like right away. Like the jewelry store robbery, that's like the first proper job that you case out. And like, yeah, fair enough. But maybe you steal the toxin in that one as well. Because you can't... I can't fully remember all of this. It's been a while since I played. But yeah, those are some pretty specific examples.
Should have like squeezed in some hype for GTA 6 as well, but oh no, it got delayed again.
Man, it was weird to me reading on the little box thing they have here. GTA 5 release September 17th, 2013. Because it's like, oh wow, it's going to be like 13 years later they release the next game in the franchise.
Man.
And it's going to be like the biggest game ever. I'll be honest, I do not get why GTA is as big as it is. I think they're good games, I enjoy them, but the fact that these are like the leading games in the world, basically...
It's the online for sure. Like...
Even before online, GTA was huge. Like, don't get me wrong, online has done a lot and made it even bigger than before. But just how ridiculously successful GTA is has always felt a bit odd to me. My main assumption is because it's just very real-life based, and people who struggle with video games
it's also,
and fantasy and stuff.
It's a criminal simulator, too. Like, there's only so many... Well, no other games, really, that do it that well. All the way from, like, GTA 3. So, like...
I mean...
You have the Mafia games, but those are like
games.
Like of a time period kind of things, whereas these ones are more modern.
Yeah. You got like the Payday games.
Yeah, but they're not open world, are they?
No, they're mission based.
They're specifically like mission based heist kind of things, whereas this game includes stuff like that.
Yeah,
along with everything else.
The basic real world setting does help them a lot. It frustrates me a bit. I wish people were more interested in playing like fantasy and sci-fi games, which I know sounds weird because everyone listening to this is interested in fantasy and sci-fi, but there are so many like regular people out there who won't play fantasy and sci-fi games, but they love like GTA and FIFA and stuff that is just, oh, this is something that actually happens in the real world and I don't have to like think about any extra lore or stuff. There's a lot of those people out there. Yeah, there's a lot of normies out there. It is. Yeah. GTA is still good. I want to put that out there. I'm not just being like, God, aren't these games terrible?
No, it's the worst.
It's still good. Though, yeah, the crazy success and the fact it's always rated so ridiculously high.
Yeah.
Like,
this should have been in a third-person open world list, because there's plenty of those too.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been number one. Well, it may have been number one.
This person still would have put it as number one.
It probably would have still put it number one because Elden Ring exists. So like,
yeah, Elden Ring would definitely be up there.
It's me acknowledging with respect that Elden Ring kind of crushes it when it comes to third-person open world games.
That's very good. I do feel like first-person open world, Bethesda obviously has not a monopoly, but a lot of stuff going on there, and then FromSoft has a bunch of stuff going on in third-person open world. And Rockstar Games as well, so they've got like Red Dead and stuff. Which, makes it even more weird to see a Rockstar game thing in a first-person open world list. Because them and FromSoft are the third-person open world people. It's very much a case of, do you want a realistic game, or do you want like proper dark fantasy game?
And because they were kind of breaking the rules with like open zone kind of games, like we didn't see The Outer Worlds or Avowed.
Yeah, didn't see any Borderlands franchise, which I mentioned multiple times.
Yeah.
Which could technically have made it in with their slight rule breaks. Like,
or Wonderlands if they're feeling weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect them to go that far. I would have expected maybe Borderlands 2. God, the thing is, the writer of this article feels more normal, more regular person than a lot of other opinions you'll see online, I think.
Yes.
Which is why we've got Starfield in there, which is why GTA's at the top. It feels like this is not a chronically online person. God, they're probably so much healthier mentally than both of us, Caedo.
Casually playing Tomb Raider and God of War. What is this? Oh man.
What games have you been playing casually, Caedo?
Casually? Video card. I've been playing V Rising for kind of like my cooldown game, because like we have a server on Valhost. Me and Nelsar still do. So I jump in there once a day to check on the minions, check all the loot they brought back, and then send them out on a mission again. So when we do play on the weekend, that we just have a whole bunch of stuff and we can just rush all the bosses.
Nice.
It's actually kind of a good system. I like it. So that's one of the things we've been doing, getting up to the Oakvale content, which is, and new weapons. I got some claw weapons finally. Oh, they were so fun. That's one of the things I've been playing. Let me double check. 76 been doing the dailies and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
That's largely what I've been doing. It's another season that I'm gonna probably get to 100 at least.
Obviously, for the most part, you've been working on videos.
I have. I did want to mention, I just said video card and didn't say anything beyond that. For anybody who doesn't know, I've been struggling with getting a video card that actually fits in my tower, because I have a 3070 and it's not quite meeting what I need for, both playing games and video editing and stuff like that. Especially with the current project I'm working on, there are so many freaking overlays and tracks and stuff that my previous video card would have a hard time, because it's upwards of an hour long now. So I went on to, I think it was like Build a PC, one of the Build a PC subreddits, to find a specific post about 3090 video cards and their dimensions. Because I was just like, okay, if it's 11.5 inches, it will fit in my PC. But there's only one that is. There's only one 3090 that has those dimensions. So I went to, I think it was eBay, and found a refurbished 3090 from a pretty reliable seller. And when it arrived, I was like, oh my god, I hope it goes in there. And it did. It has like a couple centimeters to spare for for size, but it's the biggest piece like in my machine now for sure. And it works pretty good. I'm kind of wondering if it's drawing a little too much power, because I've had a couple of issues with like too many windows up, and then it just starts beeping when I click, and then my video drivers crash. And I can tell when that happens, because my nightlight disables, and then suddenly I'm just flooded with blue light in my eyeballs. Because I use nightlight 100% of the time now. Like I have really good eyesight. I want to keep it as long as possible with how much I work on screens. So that's way more detail on me and how I do things, probably more than anybody needed. But point is, video card arrived. It's 3 times the VRAM of my previous video card. It's wonderful, and that means I don't have to buy a whole new machine yet.
Nice.
That'll be soon, in the next few years still probably, but I can get more life out of this one that I currently have, which is good. And the main thing that Sarge mentioned is the video project that I've been working very diligently on, and skipped last weekend to skip recording this last weekend to continue working on this guide. And obviously it's still taking a long time, but I am trucking hard on getting this done, hopefully this weekend. I really want to have it done this weekend.
There's a chance
It's a big
it'll
chance it'll be out
be out
this
while you're
weekend.
listening to this podcast.
But now that I have the
could happen.
PIPCAST, I might have to edit that too. So
You
we'll
can
see.
do a quick edit for this.
But my editing is
shouldn't take
faster
too
now
long.
too because of my faster video card.
Yep.
So not just my own, finger speed. Also, there's some annoying stick drift on my left stick on the controller, and it's an Xbox controller. I have not had that long, and I'm annoyed that I'm gonna have to replace it this soon. So I'm going a different route. And I'll let you know how that goes with the other controller that I buy. Back to buying controllers that are not Xbox official because I'm getting tired of this first-party crap that's not working right.
What kind of what series of Xbox controller is it? Out of interest?
This is an Xbox Series X and S core controller.
Okay. I have an Xbox 360 controller, which I've used for years with my PC, and it works fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
So
I do wonder if it's the newer ones.
the last controller that died out, when I was in the era of playing Shadow of Mordor, that one lasted a solid amount of time, I think, if I remember right, and that was a 360 controller, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this is the second one of these I've gotten, and it lasted. I want to say it lasted about half of the time of the previous one.
Yeah.
And they've both have different issues too. This one has stick drift. The previous one had the plug internally. The plug got loose, and I play wired all the time, so it would just lose power occasionally.
Yep.
So yeah, tired of getting frustrated with controllers when I play controllers a lot. So, but worst case, I could just plug in my PS5 controller and break that too. So. But I'm keeping that to the side because the main thing motivating me for finishing my main big video project, which is, I didn't even say what it was, it's an ultimate magic guide for Oblivion. That is the project. It's going to be my longest guide I've ever made. It's going to have so much stuff packed into it. You're going to be leaking from the ears from all of the information that's going to be filling your cerebellum. So that's what I'm working on, and my personal reward for that is Death Stranding 2. I have not touched Death Stranding 2, and that is my main motivator for getting this done, aside from just wanting to do it right, because I have poured so much effort and energy into this guide and making sure that it's accurate information, using the Elder Scrolls pages as reference. They're very comprehensive in how much stuff they keep updated, and I appreciate them for that, for sure. It's made my job a hell of a lot easier. So but also just learning things as I do, and I had another breakthrough as I messaged Sarge earlier. It's when you're making custom spells for leveling purposes, you can just add that spell effect to a touch spell and then add another spell effect alongside it. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, you can add a self-cast spell effect on top of it, any effect whatsoever, as long as it's a low power one, and you'll still get, the experience for your main skill just by casting it repeatedly without any target whatsoever, because you have a self-cast on top of it.
Okay.
So it's better to show it, and I haven't scripted it at all, so obviously I can't explain it very well right now. So basically what I'm saying is spell making is absurd, and I'm making sure that even though it's the original reason I started this guide in the first place, I'm making sure that section is still as high quality as I usually go. Even with a step-by-step, which is going to be fun. So that's all I'm working on. Sarge, what are you doing?
I've stopped working on Oblivion stuff. If you want to see my latest Oblivion builds and my What's the Strongest Weapon in Oblivion video, you can check those out. They're on the main channel, Bad Company Sarge. And on my secondary channel, Bad Company Gaming, there's 2 Fallout 4 challenge runs going on at once.
Whoa.
So, Fallout 4 fans rejoice. However, I also recently recorded an entire challenge run of The Outer Worlds, which I have scheduled to start at the kind of beginning of August and continue up until the release of the Outer
Wait,
Worlds 2.
beat the game?
Yeah, I've done the entire challenge run.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
I'll be honest, it's very weird to hear you talking about, like, oh man, so I've been working on this one video for, like, months or something, and I'm like, cool, I made, like, 20 videos in the past couple of weeks.
But they're Let's Plays.
They are, yeah.
It's different.
It is very different. It is. I also...
Caedo,
like,
show a screenshot of your timeline versus Sarge's.
I can show you some complicated timelines, I'm sure, but yeah, my Let's Play timelines are... I think on average they're like 30 cuts, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Like in the world of video editing.
And I mean, how many tracks though, too? Because I'm up to like 11 tracks.
See, I struggle with this a little bit because I'm really neat with my tracks. I have to cut them down to as minimal as possible. Like, sometimes I'll end up with like 10, 11 different video tracks, but that's only if I've got specifically overlapping elements which I can't compact down to a single compound clip.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I'm very neat and tidy with my editing. I'm like, I can't handle seeing lots of video tracks. But,
that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, I've recorded a whole challenge run for the Outer Worlds. It was a lot of fun. The game ended up being better than I remember it as being, which is great news for the Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah.
Like, I was pleasantly surprised by the game, so that was a lot of fun.
Well, we played it to death when it came out, so...
Yeah.
You know.
But a lot of the things I remember about not liking from the game weren't as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
Like, combat, I remember that being a bit clunky, and it's like, it's really not that terrible. Like, it's not amazing, don't get me wrong, but I recalled it as like a negative, so to speak, and I was like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there's only one thing I really, was disappointed by, and that was just the perks, really.
Okay, yeah. I'm playing the Spacer's Choice Edition, which has some extra perks on it, and I think that helps.
Oh, good.
Because I did reach a point where I was like, yeah, I'm not that fussed about any of these perks, I just want to unlock the next tier. But some of the new perks they've added on are actually kind of fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah. As a more casual game with really good combat...
Wait.
What?
Did you play Murder on Eridanos?
No.
Ah!
No.
Sarge,
I've not
it's so
played
good!
the DLC. Caedo, when I have time, I may go and play the DLC casually.
Please!
But I need to make a ton of videos.
You can ignore the other one. Just play Murder on Eridanos. It's so good.
Caedo, I don't have the free time to go through and play that.
All right.
I need to be working on videos. That being said, the free time game I've been playing
Dang it, Sarge!
is Borderlands 3.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got it on my Xbox as the thing, because it's on Game Pass at the moment, and I was like, you know what, I'll install it. It's actually a much smaller file size on Xbox than it would be for me to install it on PC, even though it's got more content on the Xbox version, because the Game Pass one is like the Ultimate Edition or whatever. So I was like, yeah, I'll just install it, do this, get an entire new skill tree for all the characters, and I've just been casually playing it. At first I was like, I'll just dive in for a little bit, do some shooting, I don't really care that much. But as I've been playing it, I've been getting more into it, which is somewhat annoying, because I don't plan on buying Borderlands 4 at launch. But I'm like, oh man, this is actually better than I recall.
This was a strategy.
Yeah.
They did this on purpose.
Yeah, they've also added a bunch of stuff since the last time I played. There's a whole behind-the-scenes category you can access from the main menu, where you can view a ton of behind-the-scenes stuff on work that went into the game, which I haven't actually looked at yet, but is a really cool idea, and I like it. Yeah, I've just been, playing that as my casual thing. And the other game I have dipped my toes into is Dishonored, the original Definitive Edition 1, which... point of pride is I actually got through the first mission perfectly. Well, no, not perfectly. I got through it undetected with 0 kills. So I got, like, the Ghost achievement. Which, I'm happy about. However, I missed out on, like, 300 out of 1,000 gold you can pick up. And I have no idea where I missed that. Because I was real far out and real slow going through. But I'm not actually playing the game to play the game, per se. I'm playing the game because I've also read Blades in the Dark recently, which is a tabletop RPG all about being criminals in, like, this weird, technically post-apocalyptic sort of world, but a very kind of Victorian-inspired thing. It's very Dishonored coded, and the main way I can show that is Dishonored takes place in Dunwall. Blades in Matark takes place in Duskwall.
Ah.
And it's like, oh, okay, we're really, really showing the influence on the sleeve. But it's very kind of Victorian, European sort of themed, very smoggy. You're all playing as criminals trying to do heists or assassinations or thefts or sometimes some occult stuff, because there's a lot of kind of like Cthulhu-esque Lovecraftian bits and bobs going on as well, and there's vampires and ghosts are a big deal in the game, and it's just, it's an RPG that I love. So I read the book and I was like, I'm going to play some Dishonored as well so I can immerse myself even more. And hopefully, at some point, I can run some Blades in the Dark games. Because I would like to do that. I just have to bully people into playing it and learning how to play it and stuff.
Yeah. Well, cool.
It will only take a small amount of violence. But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Well, cool. I guess that's all we got, I suppose.
Yep.
Tell us what you thought about the best first-person open world games that, according to TheGamer.
What would your top 10 have been?
Yeah, what would your number 1 have been? It certainly would not have been GTA 5. Please tell me it wouldn't have been GTA 5. So what else would it have been? New Vegas? Maybe. Avowed, even though that skirts the rules. Yeah, pick one. And, I mean, your own. But yeah, this usually goes up every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and we hope to see you in another couple of weeks for another PIPCAST 3000. Have a good one.